Hello, everybody. This is Brett Davis with the Brett Davis Unleashed from IQ podcast, coming to you from Attorney King Studios in beautiful Coronado. I have my co-host with me today, Daniel Martinez.
Hey, hello.
Good to see you again.
Definitely.
We're spending a lot of time seeing each other more often, aren't we?
Yeah, we should be social.
We need to be more distant with each other, huh?
Exactly.
Well, we're going to work on that. So we have a great show today. We have BigK Manning on the air with us. How you doing, BK?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good. And before we start, I'd like to thank my sponsors for the show, Attorney King, Amanpour, for all the things he does. Attorney King is also called Attorney King Studios, so thank you, King, for what you do. Cosmopolitan Hotel and Restaurant, thank you for your support. And also Indian Motorcycle, thank you so much for always being there, Tim. We appreciate you. And with further ado, I'd like to say hello to BK. Hey, BK, sorry about that. Tell me a little bit about what you do. I mean, what do you do in your career?
Well, I am currently the filmmaking instructor at Coronado High School, and I also teach communication, public speaking classes at Southwestern College in Chula Vista here on the South Bay of San Diego.
Well, I just dropped the ball.
And in
I?
What?
I said
problem.
I just dropped the ball. I said I could probably fudged your name there a little bit.
No, it's no big deal. It happens all the time. My full name's actually Big Cat with a K, and a lot of people have, they have great that, but my friends call me BK, so that's fine. No harm done.
Appreciate it. So you have passion for communications. You also are a phenomenal professor, from what I've heard from a lot of people around town. We know a lot of the same people, of course. Tell us a little bit about Coronado High School. It's not a typical high school, is it?
No, it isn't. It's got the regular high school aspects, as you would expect. Perhaps the campus is a little bit nicer than the one I attended back in Ashwaubenon, Wisconsin. Go Jaguars! But I feel what you're going for is the COSA, which is Coronado School of the Arts, which is a school within a school. So basically, COSA has multiple conservatories of art. We have everything from digital art, which encompasses film, what I do, as well as animation, graphic design, and game design. We also have dance. We have musical theater. We have technical theater. We have instrumental music and visual art, which is the painting and things such as that. And this is, obviously, you need to be part of Coronado High School to attend COSA, but it is something extra that you'd need to audition to get in. So it's not just your regular art class that you can take to get some quick credits. It is something that you have to be passionate about and audition to get into.
Wow, that's right. So one thing I noticed about your class is I see a lot of creative energy with the students. It seemed like we're working on different projects before this whole COVID-19 went down, but they seem very engaged. Am I correct?
Yes. The thing about, I like to make a joke that when it comes to artists, especially filmmakers, it's like herding cats, because cats have their own idea of what's going on, and these students are the same. So I will provide them with a prompt or a project for them to work on, and then pretty much let them loose, and I will supervise them and provide them guidance as they were going. But in order to not stifle the creative process, I don't want to be too hands-on myself. I want them to grow and learn as artists, and if they make mistakes, that's okay. That happens, as long as they are learning and growing from that. So that is how I approach the teaching aspect of filmmaking.
That's the best way to learn, isn't it? It's like jumping in the water. You don't know how to swim. You do everything you can to survive and just jump in.
Absolutely. And the same thing with learning anything, such as learning how to cook. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to burn the pasta a few times, but that's how you learn, and then you do better the next time, and there you have it. So a lot of people, when I was younger, myself included, we all think that we're the next Spielberg, and we might be. It's just that we're not likely to create something Spielberg's level our first time out. That's just probably not practical.
A lot of people don't believe in trial and error. They think you should, that education in itself having that piece of paper, which is a great thing, by the way. China is the best way to go, and there's a lot of people that have degrees but really don't have a lot of practical trial and error, do they?
That's correct. Yeah. So I'm a big advocate for education, obviously, but what you just said is certainly true. Just simply having a piece of paper doesn't automatically allow you to do certain things because maybe you don't have the practical knowledge, as you said. So that's why I love COSA and the hands-on aspect, so that when the students come out, if they choose to pursue film at the university level or as a career, they will at least have a foundation that I provided for them, and then they can build upon that later on.
Absolutely. So we love to do more when this whole thing comes back to normal. We would love to work more with you on projects that you're working on with the students, and also get them some time, maybe videotaping and getting more involved with our podcast stuff. What do you think? Does that fit into what you do at all?
Yeah, that sounds great. In fact, very early in my career, I had a job very similar to that. There was a radio program. Podcasts weren't a thing at that time, but there was an internet broadcast of a radio program up in Burbank, and I was the camera person. I controlled the cameras and the switcher and things like that, and I was a one-man operation as far as that goes. So yeah, that'd be great, working together with you on something that to that end.
So you're a man of many talents. You're kind of a Renaissance guy.
Well, if you insist, sure, I'll take those compliments.
And a very humble one at that. So I understand you've written a couple of children's books.
That is true. I have a side hobby of writing children's books. I've always been a writer and coming up with silly stories and what have you. And once I had my son, I found myself retelling the stories to him, and I thought, well, why not write them down? The problem always had been that I can visualize just fine, but I'm not much of an artist when it comes to illustrations, drawing, etc. So for a while, they just stayed in my brain and or on scraps of paper, never to be seen by the public. But then I stumbled across various avenues where I can get some talented people to do that work on my behalf. And with the help of Amazon, say what you will about them, but they make it really easy for people to publish their work and get it out there to the public. I now have 2 children's books published and several more in the works.
So you took an idea, thought. What are the name of the 2 books?
My first one is called Crackers, It's Cold Outside. It's based on a conversation I would have had with my real-life boyhood cat when I was growing up in Wisconsin. If you are familiar with cats, you know they like to be in charge, and old Crackers would meow and meow and meow at the door to go outside, not realizing that it was winter. And I knew that as soon as I opened the door, he would forget about the whole thing and go back and curl up on the couch. So I would try to explain to him, I'm not opening the door, it's cold, you don't get it. And so it's a silly book that is a one-sided conversation with a cat who is very insistent on that door getting open.
I have a cat, so I get it.
Yeah. Well, out here, it's not so bad. Kitty cat can go outside and lay in the sun, but old Crackers, he always wanted it to be summertime or springtime. He didn't quite understand the seasons change.
And what is the second book about?
The second one is my more recent of the 2. I published it last summer. It's called Giraffes Only Do the Can-Can on Tuesdays. It's a very whimsical book about a young person who goes to the zoo with her classmates, and one of the classmates has a negative opinion about the zoo because in his mind, the zoo animals don't do anything. They just lay there and sleep. And so the young lady starts to spin a tale about how they're sleeping because at night when the zoo is closed, the animals are very busy doing human-like things. And it starts off slow, such as a couple of animals will go into the gift shop and look for various items, and then it starts to get more and more silly, culminating with there is a very intricate stage show done by the Giraffes, where in fact they will do a can-can kick line like the Rockettes in New York City, and it goes on from there.
So I'd love to get the books. Where can we get them?
Well, they are available on Amazon. I do have my own website. It's BigKatManning.com. Remember, that is spelled with a K, so BigKat with a K, Manning.com, and there's links to them there. And additionally, if you would like an autograph copy, you could go through the website. If you get it straight from Amazon, that's perfectly fine, but it comes from them and not from me, so I wouldn't be able to autograph it. But if you went to my website, BigKatManning.com, there's not only my film that I did as a graduate student, but also these books and hopefully more things to come when I get them made and ready for the public.
Are you doing an ebook at all?
I do have it available as an ebook as well. The formatting is a little different than the print book, but yes, I do have that option available through Amazon. Kindle, I believe it is.
So, with your experience, have you done anything to teach other people how to do any of this themselves?
I haven't as of yet. I'd be willing to do that. I did the Crackers book basically, to get back to our previous discussion, basically as a means to teach myself. I had no prior knowledge of this, so I figured it out as I was going through it and figured out things like the file sizes and the formatting and so forth, and I was able to accomplish that. And so now that I've been through it a couple of times, I'd be happy to take a new author through that, and so they can also experience the pleasure of having their own work out there for the public.
This might be a good class for people that may want to do to get into doing publishing of either ebook type or print.
Yeah, that'd be great. And work with the adult education or continuing education kind of thing, or
sure, maybe
even COSA. Who knows?
That would be really cool, and I think I could get you some people to myself. I would love to be involved with something that you teach.
Great, sounds great.
So, do you also do? Have you done anything with short films that maybe if somebody wants to develop a film from the ground up? Have you done anything as far as that goes? As far as teaching people the process other than your students?
I haven't, but that would be something that I'd love to be involved in. I have been through that process a couple of times, for better or worse, and filmmaking is rather time-consuming, but if people are passionate and they want their work out there, it certainly can be done. It's just that having someone who has been through it, such as myself, would be a good way for them to experience it for themselves.
How many films have you developed yourself?
Well, I have 2 that I count, as in these were done and I spent a lot of time on them and I would show them. There's many other small ones that I've been involved with, including some that my students have done that have moved on to be shown in festivals and so forth. But there are 2 short films that I consider that would go on my resume, we'll put it that way. But there's numerous other ones that were done more for much smaller projects, and it wouldn't be necessarily a showcase of the entirety of my repertoire.
I think it's typically when you've done your films, how long are they? How many minutes?
About 15. The one I did as a student getting a bachelor's degree in film was about 20 minutes. And the one I did getting the thesis for my graduate, my MFA degree was 15 minutes. That one is the one that's available on BigKatManning.com. It's called Leopard Spots. It explores people who need to be true to themselves in order to get the girl, basically.
I like it. So,
thank you.
Do you give us that website?
It is bigkmanning.com. That is